do not know why it took me this long to make a rag quilt. I think everyone should make a rag quilt. They are so easy, simple, and they turn out super cute. Welcome to Jenna Tries, and if you haven't caught on yet, I'm Jenna, and I've been quilting since I was 10, and I'm 26 now. So that's basically like 15, 16 years of quilting. I come from a family of quilters where everyone is an expert on something different, so I feel like I'm learning new things all the time. But even though I've been quilting for so long, there are so many things I haven't tried yet, and I don't know why I haven't tried them yet. Maybe it's just time, money, who knows? Most of the time it's time though, because we all got a whole lot going on. Today I'm making a Quilt As You Go rag quilt. I have never done a Quilt As You Go project, so I'm really excited to learn. Also, fun fact about me, I don't like reading instructions, and I am queen of just making things up. So I do not read any patterns, I did not watch any videos. I am just going based off of looking at a rag quilt and being like, okay, let's see if I can make it. And because we're trying to be money conscious nowadays, I went to a local thrift shop and got a whole bunch of pillowcases for the quilt top and a sheet for the back. And what's nice about a pillowcase is it's basically 2 fat quarters, which is plenty of fabric. And to save a little bit more money, I have a ton of batting scraps literally everywhere, and I never know what to do with them, so we're gonna cut them down for this project. First things first, let's cut up our batting. So what size should our blocks be? I'm thinking 8.5, just because that is a pretty good size. Usually, like with quilting, you want a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I know with rag quilts you want a 1/2 inch seam allowance because you gotta clip the edges. And I think 8.5 will finish at 7.5. I think that would be a pretty good size block. So we're gonna go with that. Also, when you cut thicker layers of anything, including batting, you wanna use a 60mm rotary cutter, just because it handles the layers so much better than a 45mm rotary cutter. I think I'm gonna need 30 squares. I don't wanna do a huge quilt, so I'm gonna do 5x6 blocks. Does that sound good to you? Sounds good to me. These are all cut. I'm gonna get to my backing. At the thrift store, I found this sheet that is super cute, and so I thought, let's do this guy. Honestly, there was no other sheet that I thought was cuter than this, because it was all plain colors, and I didn't want a plain one. I wanted something a little bit patterned. Now let's cut the backing fabric into 30 8.5 inch squares. And now we got our backing squares. And the last thing I need to do is cut up the pillowcases. And I did the math, and I have 8 pillowcases, and I'm gonna need 4 8.5 inch squares from each pillowcase, which means I'll have extra to do another one with. So this will be fun. Now we've got our batting, our backing, and our top squares finished at 8.5 inches. And I'm not really used to working with like fabric used for bedding and pillowcases and things like that. And what I've noticed is it's a little bit stretchy, which is okay, because all the edges are gonna be cut anyway, so do they need to be perfect? I don't know. So our next step is to create a sandwich with all of these and then sew an X, and that is the Quilt As You Go part. But to make a perfect X, I'm gonna try to draw it out first. So let's see. I have a friction pen. You can use whatever you have at home. We're just gonna do diagonal to diagonal. I like to do this in the middle so the fabric doesn't stretch a whole lot. Also, you can see I didn't iron this, and that's okay. I'm being lazy right now. But if you wanna iron it, you can. The next step is to make our sandwich. I'm gonna be honest with you and say that I just marked the X's on the first 4 blocks because I am slightly a lazy quilter, okay? It's okay if you want to be a perfectionist. Right now, I have no desire to be a perfectionist, and especially with the Quilt As You Go rag quilt, it's supposed to look a little bit rustic, right? The next step is to make our sandwich. You want your right side down. You're gonna put a little batting square in the middle, and then one of these squares on top. I need some ideas for my next episode of Jenna Tries. So in the comments, let me know what you think I should try next. It could be a simple project. It could be so outrageous. Look at all of our blocks stacked up. They are looking so cute. Okay, now we're gonna take them over to our machine and we are gonna sew them up. I'm just gonna sew right on the lines I drew, making that X, and then I'm just gonna do the next one. One nice thing about this little Rebel is it just handles thick fabric so well. It is an industrial machine. The first 4 blocks were so easy. Oh my goodness, you have to do this project. I'm just gonna finish the rest of this stack, and I didn't draw the lines on this one, so let's see if I can make it go straight. Now I gotta lay it out in my 5x6 block. Okay, now it's time to sew them together, so I'm just gonna stack up the first row and take it to my machine. And I know that with a rag quilt, you want the back sides touching, because when you open it up, then you'll have the raw edge facing up, and that's what you want. So let's rock and roll. And if you're wondering where your 1/2 inch seam allowance line is on your machine, most machines have a line at every 1/8 of an inch. And so I'm just lining mine up with the 1/2 inch mark. First 2 blocks sewn together, and I'm going to show you my mistakes because I love showing people my mistakes. If you see right here, some of the fabric bunched, and I'm pretty sure that's because this fabric is a little bit stretchier than cotton, and I did not put any interfacing on the back, so I kind of knew that would happen. So you may want to use a walking foot, but I don't care if things bunch, honestly. Boom! First row, done. Now I'm gonna finish the rest of the rows. Are you ready for all of them to be finished? In 3, 2, 1, and oh my goodness, all the rows are done. Now we are going to put the rows together. And we're doing the same thing where it's the backside to backside. And I am just opening these little seams and I'm clipping the seams together. Now I am gonna sew this using my 1/2 inch seam allowance. First 2 rows are sewn together, and now I'm going to sew the rest of the rows together. Also, if you notice that I did not press anything, it's because I did not feel the need to for this specific quilt. Don't worry, I do press my quilts normally, but for this one, I said, I think it will turn out great. So I will see you when the rest of the quilt is sewn together. Okay, we got our finished quilt top, and I don't know why I'm saying we. Maybe it's just because me and you are here quilting together and we're friends already. Maybe that's the case. But the next portion is to turn it into the rag portion of the quilt. So the next step would be to cut these guys. And I'm going to take these nice sharp scissors, and you want to make sure they're sharp. I'm going to cut until I'm around 1/8 of an inch away from my seam. And I find that for these scissors, the back of the scissors is the sharpest, so I'm cutting at the back. Okay, and then also when you cut these guys right here, if you clip the edge like this, come on, and then this side like this, then it makes it easier to fold this guy back. Let's do that one. To fold this one this way and cut the opposite direction. Then if you rub your hands over it, it's just frilly and raggy and oh so cute. I'm gonna do the rest of the cutting later, and the next step would be to add on the binding, just whatever way you feel like adding on binding. And I think I'm gonna use the scraps from the pillows to do the binding. It'll be so cute. Welcome back. I know it's only been like a second for you, but it's been a couple weeks for me, and we got the finished quilt. And it turned out so dang darn cute. Let me tell you the horrors of it, of washing and drying it though. So this is now washed and dried, and in my silly brain I was like, well, Jenna, you should do some laundry and wash some other stuff when you wash this baby. And oh my goodness, I should not have at all. And I know I shouldn't have. The amount of like threads and fluff that just came off this thing was ridiculous. I was washing something for another video, and I just want to show you how many threads there are just everywhere. And my clothes are covered in them now, which is high-key ridiculous, but that's okay. That's what we got lint rollers for, right? And just like I said earlier, I did end up using the pillowcases for the binding as well, but I ended up using the edge of the pillowcase that was already folded over and just cutting that in 1.25 inches. And then, so I didn't have to press anything, and all I had to do was sew them all together and then sew them on this baby, and it turned out so freaking cute. I will say, if you're making this for someone else, give yourself time to cut all of the little snips, because oh my goodness, my wrists were hurting after a little bit. I would do like 2 rows and then stop and do something else, and then 2 rows, and until this was basically done. And here's what I love. My points don't line up one bit, and it's okay, and you can't even notice because all the points are covered by the little rag bits. It's so fun. This project was so fun, fast, and easy. I really think that everybody needs to make a Quilt As You Go rag quilt, and that is why I wrote a pattern. It is for free in the description below. Just click the link and you got it. It's for crib size, small throw, and large throw rag quilt, and it's fat quarter friendly, so go ahead and download it. If you make your own rag quilt, make sure to tag Grace on social media. We want to see your projects, and in the comments below, tell me what you want to see me try next on Jenna Tries. Make sure to like and subscribe for more fun quilting content, and I'll see you next time.